When we think of the horrors of World War II, most people imagine Nazi camps or the atomic bomb. But hidden in Japanese-occupied Manchuria, there was another nightmare, a secret facility known as Unit 731, where human beings became test subjects. And the darkest part? After the war, the United States helped cover it up. Unit 731 was created in 1936 in the city of Harbin. Officially, it was called the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. In reality, it was the largest human experimentation program of the war. Led by General Shirō Ishii, Unit 731's mission was to weaponize disease. Ishii believed germs could win wars more effectively than bombs. But to perfect these weapons, he needed data, and animals weren't enough. He wanted human subjects, prisoners of war, Chinese civilians, Koreans, Soviets, and even captured Americans were taken inside. They weren't called by name. Inside Unit 731, they were simply logs. The experiments were relentless. Prisoners were injected with plague, anthrax, and cholera. Scientists observed every stage of infection: temperature, pulse, organ failure, not to heal, but to record. Others were locked into freezing chambers to study hypothermia. Limbs were exposed to icy air and water, and doctors measured how long the body could endure. Some were forced into pressure chambers or given chemical gases. Weapons were tested directly on living people: grenades, flamethrowers, bayonets. The logic was simple. Soldiers on a battlefield would suffer these wounds. Why not study them in a controlled environment? And beyond the walls, entire communities became test fields. Planes dropped plague-infected fleas on villages. Wells were poisoned with cholera. Food supplies were contaminated with typhoid. The results were devastating. Whole towns vanished in outbreaks that no one understood. To Unit 731, this was success. Historians estimate that up to 300,000 people may have died from Unit 731's experiments and biological attacks. By 1945, Japan was defeated. Its cities were in ruins. Hiroshima and Nagasaki had been destroyed by atomic bombs. When the war ended, the world expected justice. Nazi doctors faced trial in Nuremberg. Surely Japanese scientists would too. But the story took a darker turn. As the Cold War began, the United States realized Unit 731's research could not be ignored. The data on plague, anthrax, frostbite, and more was unlike anything available in the West. So American intelligence struck a deal. In exchange for handing over their records, the doctors of Unit 731 were granted immunity. General Shirō Ishii retired quietly in Tokyo. Others became professors, hospital directors, respected members of society. None of them ever faced trial. For decades, Japan denied Unit 731 even existed. School textbooks skipped over it. Survivors who spoke up were ignored. In the United States, the documents were sealed and classified. Officials argued it was necessary for national security. The Soviets did hold trials in 1949 at Khabarovsk, where captured Japanese scientists testified in detail about plague bombs and frostbite tests. But in the West, these trials were dismissed as propaganda. It wasn't until the 1980s and 1990s that the full truth emerged. Journalists uncovered declassified documents. Historians pieced together survivor accounts. Former soldiers admitted what they had seen. By then, it was too late for justice. The victims were gone. The perpetrators had lived full lives. The legacy of Unit 731 is disturbing. The data was integrated into America's Cold War programs. At Fort Detrick in Maryland, scientists studied it to improve U.S. defenses against biological warfare. Meanwhile, survivors in China and Korea demanded recognition. Some filed lawsuits. A few memorials were built. But official apologies and compensation never truly came. And the moral question lingers. Can knowledge gained through cruelty ever be justified? The same war that gave us the Nuremberg Code, declaring that human experiments must have consent, also gave us a bargain where atrocity was rewarded. Unit 731 was more than a Japanese crime. It was an international scandal. The victims never saw justice. Their names were lost. Their suffering was turned into data, traded in the shadows of the Cold War. The doctors walked free. The government stayed silent. And for decades, the world pretended it never happened. Today, the ruins of Unit 731 stand as a museum, a reminder of what happens when science and power cross every line of morality. And it leaves us with one haunting question. If this much horror could be hidden for half a century, what else from World War II is still locked away in the dark?